Okay, so welcome everyone. Thanks for joining in this GMT analysis session. And in this session, we will be going through the analysis of the stock market indexes and some of the stocks that have been already requested by the GMT members. And if there are any other requests that comes in the chat, we can take those as well. Since we have many of the stocks that are requested, we will start with the uh, indexes and then go to the stocks. And for requests from members on the call, you can take those after the ones that are already requested. If there are any questions, feel free to ask and we can entertain those as well. So to start with, we will go through the indexes, and for Dow Jones, we'll do the analysis of the uh, index. On the weekly chart, as you can see, the index ETF is above the upper Bollinger Band on the weekly chart, with the indicators touching the overbought zone. So can see that the market is in overbought condition, and in the coming weeks we shouldn't be surprised to see some correction for the stocks which are monitored by the Dow Jones, at least in terms of the weekly condition. It's time for correction. And if you look the last day's trade on the daily chart, the market closed above the Bollinger Band, uh, forming a red candle, and the indicators slowly have started indicating that it's time for correction. So the next session would be on Tuesday, because Monday is holiday both in the US and Canada. So from the Tuesday session, um, you can expect in the week to have bearish trend or a correction from the daily as well as on the weekly pattern. Now we'll go to our next index, and that's primarily um, the index that's tracked by majority of the GMT members, and this is the NASDAQ index. It's about to touch the upper Bollinger Band. It's currently trading at 20,026. Uh, Based on the last trading session, you can still expect it to go further up. The upper band is at 20,438, close to 20,450. We can expect it to touch. So the coming week for the tech stocks, which are tracked by the NASDAQ index, uh, are still bullish. You can see the indicators are still up. They are almost touching the overbought region, but in terms of the momentum, you can still expect at least a week of bullish trend. It's already at the resistance. With the trading that has happened in the last week, we can still expect to go further up. Let's check on the daily chart. As you can see from last three sessions, it has formed a strong bullish pattern, and then in the next session you can easily expect it to touch 20,100 or 140. uh, if it has a gap up opening, it might form a red candle. If it doesn't have a gap up opening, then you can expect it to go further up. The previous high was 20,200 on 16th of December. Uh, it's been three times that it has faced resistance at the current level. Try it here. So back on 24th December, then again around 22nd of January, it had hit these levels and had faced resistance. This time with this strong bullish trend with this three marching shoulders, that's the pattern. We can expect it to go further up. Any questions from anyone? Yeah, it's in overbought, um, but with the pattern that it has formed in the last three sessions, we can still expect it to continue further up, at least in the next one or two sessions. That will be Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay. Uh, yeah, so this is daily chart. So yesterday was green. If you see Thursday's trading, it was strong green Marubazu. On Wednesday, it was strong green Marubazu. And these three together are forming a strong bullish pattern. Yes, it has reached, in fact, it has crossed this 20,000 level because it closed at 26 and yesterday's high was 2045, 20,045. So it has almost crossed this resistance and we can expect it to go to the next level. So about 100 150 points, you can still expect it to go further up. Okay, so since we are at NASDAQ index, let's cover QQQ as well, which is an ETF which follows the NASDAQ pattern. So in terms of okay, so for QQQ, slightly different from what we saw for NASDAQ. QQQ has already touched the upper Bollinger Band, and uh, just for new members or those who are new to GMT, in terms of the NASDAQ index and QQQ, the difference is QQQ tracks the top 100 technology stocks. So for the 100 stocks that are tracked by QQQ, this index is indicating that it is already touching the upper Bollinger Band. It's the Williams R and CCI are in overbought region. RSI has not touched 70 yet. However, it's also very close to the overbought region. And from the weekly chart, the for the tech stocks, it's already in the overbought region, and we can expect correction once the other stocks in the index start correcting. It could have more visible um, correction for the tech stocks, but the tech stocks might start correction sooner, at least from the weekly chart and also on the daily chart. It it has touched the upper Bollinger Band in last two sessions. It took support on the mid Bollinger Band on the daily chart and has moved up. Currently, it is at all time. It formed an all-time high yesterday. So the tech stocks, you can see, if you are able to see the Williams R, which gives an early indication, it has almost flattened and could start turning downwards, indicating for the tech stocks, the correction could start sooner in the next week, since it's already in the oversold position. So if you are holding any of the tech stocks in profit, it could be good time to book your profits in the next coming session. And if we just look on the 4-hour chart to give a even more closer view, yeah, even from the 4-hour chart, just 2 points up, it could go up to 540 and could start correcting. So towards close of the day, it was about the upper Bollinger Band, and then market pulled it back and close at 538. Case and another index which follows QQQ is TQQ. Just will briefly cover this as well. For TQQ, the upper Bollinger Band is at 91.75. It has closed on close to 90. It did form a high of 90 in the last week, or this week rather, and it can go $1 up and start facing correction. Even on the daily chart, it has touched the upper Bollinger Band. The Williams R and CCI have flattened, so it has not formed its all-time high yet. It has its high at 93.48 in mid December. So in terms of correction, it the market may attempt to touch the all-time high, but since the indicators are already in the overbought, if you are holding position and you are not looking at markets on Tuesday session, I would suggest to set your target profit at either 91 or even at 90, so that your profit gets booked before it has a correction. Any questions from anyone? Okay, so I'll take silence as good. So if there are no questions, then I'll just go on to the next index ETF. So, okay, I think we'll have to come back to this ETF. We will is not showing the this ETF because it's a TSX. Any questions from anyone, or are we good to move uh, to the next list of stocks? We'll come back to TSX and the TSX stocks on TradingView. Okay, so since there are no questions, we will go on to the next stock that's in the list is Tesla. So for those who are trading Tesla, can see in the last week Tesla had dropped under the mid Bollinger Band on the weekly chart, and the market has pulled up with forming a pattern which shows that it has reversed. The indicators Williams R and CCI are still downward, with CCI slightly turning flattish, and we can expect it to uh, take a support at the mid Bollinger Band for some upside here. And in terms of the levels, currently it is at 355. Uh, the super trend is at 314. However, the market pulled it up with a when it touched close to 347. And with this pattern, we can expect at least the coming week it could trade higher. And if we switch to the daily chart, that's quite evident. So on 11th, it had a low of 325, and then the market started. The buyers in the market entered and started taking its price up. And in the last three sessions, it had moved up. With the last session, although it formed a red candle, towards the end, you can see the closing is almost at the same price, the price at which it closed a day before. Its mid Bollinger Band is at 384, and super trend level is at 394. Uh, with Tesla's move, you can expect it to touch 385 and 395 before it faces correction. There's a small gap here as well. So if it doesn't face resistance around 385 at the mid Bollinger Band, it could close this small gap down as well. And if that gap down gets closed, the uh, target would be 400 for booking your profits. For those who are holding Tesla for longer term, uh, I would suggest to keep a watch at this super trend level, uh, or at the 400 level. If it's facing hard time in crossing the 400 mark, that could be an indication of a resistance at 400. So would be better to book your profits and wait for the market to correct. As we saw from the NASDAQ index analysis and QQQ analysis, that correction is due. So it would be good to book your profits and stay on cash for buying at a lower price. In terms of the weekly, 4-hour chart for Tesla, the mid Bollinger Band, it has not yet touched, um, but the last two candles, the pattern is sideways. However, you can expect during the next trading session, the levels that we discuss on the daily chart, those could be your targets. Okay, so the next one that we have is Microsoft, MSFT. For Microsoft, I would start on the monthly chart. So on the monthly pattern, you can clearly see that it's in the downtrend. The indicators are still downward. Its mid Bollinger Band is at 393, which means we can still expect about $15 drop on the monthly chart, and we can expect it to take support on the monthly mid Bollinger Band. As of the weekly chart, the weekly trading this week has closed bearish. If I zoom in a bit, this last candle, it has almost engulfed the body of the previous week's candle. So that indicates further drop in the price. The For those who are holding Microsoft or MSFU, which is the leverage ETF of Microsoft, the positive aspect is that both Williams R and CCI, they are in the oversold region. So we can expect buyers to start coming in as it's already in the oversold region. Uh, with the monthly pattern, the pattern indicates that it could drop further. However, that could bring in more buyers because it's in the oversold region. And if you look on the daily chart, the daily chart, uh, the last four candles are green, which means the price at which it opens, it closes higher. However, the lower Bollinger Band can see is still downward. Even the super trend is downward. The mid Bollinger Band is also uh, in the downward direction. So if you are holding, you can still hold and plan to increase your positions to average down when it reaches the lower Bollinger Band level. Here on the daily chart, it's 394. On weekly, it was 393. Uh, on monthly chart, the mid Bollinger Band was 393. So 394, 395 could be a good price to average down, or if you are not on it, to enter. With the first target at 416, then as of now the mid Bollinger on the daily chart is at 423. If it drops further, this level will also drop. um, but you can look at what's the mid Bollinger Band level, and that could be your second target. For now, you can take it as 420. And for those who wants to hold even further, there's a gap down here. So the gap down closure 440 could be your next target. Okay. All right. Since I mentioned MSFU, I will just cover that for those who are holding as well. I'm just taking from the monthly chart. MSFU on the monthly chart, it's even more discouraging because it has dropped below the mid Bollinger Band. It's currently at the support level. So can if at the current level it takes support and reverses, that could be good for MSFU. Although the pattern obviously uh, is similar to MSFT. So if you are currently on it, you can hold it until it touches the lower Bollinger Band and reverses up. Okay. Next we will take NVDA. NVDA has been quite volatile. Just take a view on the monthly pattern. It has almost engulfed the last week's red candle and has formed a Marubazu. We are in the mid of the month, so this cannot be taken as the pattern to expect it to go further up. However, it has formed a green Marubazu, which is positive for the coming week and days. And on the weekly chart, it's pretty clear that the last two sessions, the last two weekly sessions have been bullish. You can see Williams RCCI, RSI, all three indicators have uh, clearly indicated it to go further up. So with the current level of 138 or close to 139, it has a potential to go $10 further up to 149 or even 150 before it faces resistance on the weekly basis. If we go on to the daily chart, the super trend is at 141.50, which could be a resistance for the uh, immediate next two sessions. However, if you are holding 149, could looks to be a good target, as even on the daily chart the upper Bollinger Band is at 149 and it's almost about to close this gap down, which possibly could happen in the next two sessions in the week, Tuesday or Wednesday. Only thing to keep an eye on is the CCI and Williams R indicators. These two indicators are already in the overbought region on the daily chart. So there could be some profit booking once it closes gap, this gap down, uh, and it could drop until the mid Bollinger Band before it goes further up. So mid Bollinger Band has acted as support earlier this week as well. When it has a correction or profit booking, it could drop at, and then mid Bollinger Band could be your level to re-enter if you want to re-enter. Or those who would prefer to buy fresh for the target of 149. Okay. And for those who are trading the leverage ETF, so this to last 2 weeks candle are strong bullish, which is quite positive. So the mid Bollinger Band here is at 69.88 and upper Bollinger Band is at 85, which seems to have acted as the strong resistance first in previous two instances as well. Yeah, you can see it has been bullish. There are more buyers coming in. So the low here was 72.34 and super trend is at 69, which matches with the mid Bollinger Band on the weekly chart. Okay. All right. So the next is again an semiconductor stock AMD. AMD on the weekly chart, it has had a reversal on the indicators. The low was 106 in the last week and it has closed green. So both Williams RCC and also RSI was in the oversold region and has seen this uh, buyers coming in. So let's see on the daily chart. Yeah, even on the daily chart, the trend this week has been bullish. At 115, it made a high of 114.63 in the last session. We can expect 115 to be touched in the next couple of sessions, or it could touch in the next session as well. The low here was 114.79, which almost coincides with the mid Bollinger Band, which is at 115. That could be the first target if you are already on it, and the next target could be 123 and 120, 123 to 125, depending upon the bullish volume. If you look on the weekly chart, the weekly chart is at 134. Since the mid Bollinger Band and the super trend and also upper Bollinger Band are slightly in the downward direction, once you are on the trade, you can keep an eye on the mid Bollinger Band. That could be your resistance level. So if you are planning to hold some quantity even after 125, the next target that you could look is 134, um, and modify your target depending upon uh, how fast it reaches and the level it has on the mid Bollinger Band. For those who are planning to hold for longer term, let me open up on the monthly chart as well. For those who are planning to hold for longer term, it's currently at the uh, super trend level. However, still, if you see the uh, lower Bollinger Band is still further down. The lower Bollinger Band is at 86.5. So for those who would be planning to hold it for long term, you can still wait for entering it. Um, however, for short term trade or a swing trade, it looks good if you want to uh, hold it for 125 134 targets. If you are already on it, you can hold for these two target levels for a swing trade. Okay. Yeah, for the TSX stocks, we will uh, go after the US stocks, as those are not on the this Webull tool. Yeah, but we'll come to those as well. Okay, so the next semiconductor stock is SMCI. This has been quite volatile amongst the semiconductor stocks. If you look on the weekly pattern, the last two candles were green Marubazu, which means you can expect the coming week it will touch higher than the high that it made in this week, 48. So upper Bollinger Band and the super trend are at 50, which can be target if you are currently on it, because it's on the weekly basis. This seems to be a very strong resistance. If you see here, so this level of 50, it has acted as a strong resistance. The probability of this breaking this resistance, it has slight higher probability, just looking at how uh, it has moved in this 2 week. However, if you ask me as a conservative trader, I would still suggest to book your profits around 50. Probably, if you want to um, see if it breaks this resistance and move further up, you can keep 10% of your positions for higher targets, which would be at this level, which is 60. Um, but I would suggest to still book profit of your majority of your positions at 50. And if we look on the daily chart, it has already closed above the upper Bollinger Band. The last candle is almost Marubazu, not entirely Marubazu, but almost Marubazu. So you can still expect it to go further up. 49.50 or 50 could be your target if you are already on it. Mohit, are you already on SMCI or were you watching this? Okay, not a problem. So yes, it had a huge gap down. Let's see if it shows on the weekly chart as well. No, it doesn't show on the weekly chart. Yeah, there was a huge gap down here, and the low here was okay. Yes, right. And when it falls hard. So it's better to right. Okay, good. So if you have already made some profit, that's good. You can just wait for it to correct, because obviously it's at overbought, so there's no entering. No worries, you can watch the recording. All right, so the next one is PLTR, and this stock was in my watch list. Maybe I'll uh, share the level that I was looking to enter on the weekly chart, but it didn't hit that. And uh, just, yes, so I was going to touch that point. So for those who have not been watching PLTR, I know Mohit and I believe even Raj Lakshmi is having in the watch list. But for those who have not been looking at this stock, if you look from 2023, from the single digit, it has reached 120 as of the last week's session. In terms of the company as well, it has good solutions to provide in the technology space. So for those who are looking for a good stock, uh, close to $100 for 2 to 5 years or even more duration, watch for correction for this stock to enter. Yes. So the leverage could multiply your stock if it continues this pattern. So on the weekly chart, as you can see, it has closed above the upper Bollinger Band. The CCI has turned lower. Williams R and RSI are flat. So you can expect correction with the market indexes. As we saw, the market indexes are also in the overbought, and we can expect correction. So with the market, we can expect PLTR to correct as well. And if it corrects and you want to start entering, this level of 80 could be the first buying level. The mid Bollinger Band currently is at 69.50. If it drops, it could drop a little as well, which could be your next level of uh, entry. And if we look at the daily chart, so it faced resistance at this point, but the market has still uh, put pulled it further for the all-time high. Uh, if you look on the daily chart, yeah, 84 is the resistance, which could be uh, the entry price for those who are planning to hold it either medium term or even for long term. And if it corrects hard, the level of 59 or 60 could be your entry point where you can add if you have already entered. In terms of the indicators, it is in the overbought region. RSI is 78, Williams are -3, CCI 83. So it's definitely a good stock to hold in your portfolio. But at this point, it should be in your watch list as it's in the overbought region. It has had this huge gap up as well upon earnings, and we can expect that gap up to close. Then you can enter. I was watching it around this point when it was close to 80. It did had correction, but it took support at mid Bollinger Band, and I missed entering. And since then, yeah, it's this gap we can expect it to fill soon once the market has correction, and that after, when it closes this gap, that's when you can plan to enter. Okay, so since we are just 13 minutes into this session, let's just quickly complete the other terms in the request. AVGO Broadcom. After the gap down, it has almost closed that gap. Um, in terms of the indicators are upward, again about to reach the overbought region. So if you are already on it, you can expect it to book your profits again at close to 250 levels, or 240, 242 could be your target from the weekly charts resistance. If you look on the daily chart, it has almost closed this gap, but there's some room remaining. So the super trend level of 245 could be your target, first target, and 250 could be your second target, which is the upper Bollinger Band. Upper Bollinger Band is at 252. You can aim for 250. Sometimes with the high volume, if someone sells, then the price could drop down further. So 245 and 250 would be good targets to aim for if you are already on it. In terms of the trend on this stock is still, I would say, bit volatile. As you can see, when it had a gap up, it uh, since then it has been almost trading in this band. So after booking your profits, you can wait for it to enter again when it has correction, and re-enter close to 205. But that would depend upon how strong is the market correction. If the market correction is steep, it might close this gap up as well. So if you are entering around 205, enter in a smaller quantity to keep a room. If in case it drops further, you can average down. Next is Netflix. Okay, so Netflix, again, if you look at weekly or monthly pattern, it has been bullish since 2022. But at the current levels on the monthly chart or weekly chart, it is in oversold, sorry, overbought. So if you are on it, it would be good time to book your profit before the strong correction happens. It had good earnings, and upon earnings, it had a gap up, and since then, the market has continued to keep it above the 950 mark. Um, Now, with the current level, the upper Bollinger Band is at 1081. So, with another close to 20-30 points upside, you can look to book your profits either at the current levels or at the upper Bollinger Band, uh, and better to wait for it to have correction before entering or adding to your positions. Even if you are planning to hold it for long, it would be good to book your profits and then wait for it to have correction. As yeah, so 870 or 888, 870, that's the mid Bollinger Band level on the weekly chart, and 888 is the lower Bollinger Band on daily chart. Those could be the levels that you can look for buying it. Next is MSTR. Okay, MSTR. So for those who are following MSTR, it's a company which is hedging on Bitcoin. So depending upon Bitcoin's trend, you can expect this stock to have its form its pattern. Right now, it's taking support at the mid Bollinger Band on the weekly weekly chart. The Williams R is almost at the oversold region, not entirely done yet. Um, One CCI is at minus 55 and it can drop further. RSI is at 50. So still there is further room for it to drop further. Um, with it at mid Bollinger Band in the last 2 weeks, it seems to be taking support. Uh, if you are already on it, you can hold to see whether it is able to sustain this support. If you are looking to buy, I would suggest to wait for it to uh, drop further because the super trend is at 232. Um, Lower Bollinger Band is at 178. So it won't be surprising that if it drops further. Only for quick swing trade based on the daily chart trend, it, it is upward, touching the mid Bollinger Band. And with the current level, if you are planning to enter, uh, your entry prices could be based on the weekly chart. So right now it's at the upper Bollinger Band on the 4-hour chart. So you can buy it around mid Bollinger Band at 327 for your first target close to 349 and then second target close to 388. But these would be short term trades, knowing that the long term trend, at least from the weekly chart, uh, it may break the support at the weekly chart. Let's just check on the monthly pattern as well. Yeah, even on the monthly pattern, you can see the CCI is at 77, RSI is at 68, and you can expect it to correct. So Mohit, if you are not on it, I would suggest just to take a quick trade and then wait for it to correct for um, AVL. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this last one will take PayPal, and the meeting might end in 4 minutes. But let's see if we can cover with PayPal and then go to TSX. So PayPal, Vivek, if you are already on it, it seems that it has had a reversal at the lower Bollinger Band on the weekly chart. The indicators have reversed. Um, if you have entered, you can look for first target close to 84 and 86 when it closes the this gap, and then hold for this level of 92. So Vivek, are you already on it? Okay. Okay. Good. So you have got a good entry for PayPal. That's great. All right. So I'll just pull. Can you all see trading view? Yeah, great. All right, so let's quickly cover TSX index since we had not covered on VBull. All right, so if you look at TSX, it was above the weekly upper Bollinger Band 2 weeks back, and since then it has had correction. In the last week, it has formed a bearish candle, and if you look on the last session specifically, it has formed a big bearish Marubazu. So in the coming week, if you are holding major stocks on the TSX, you can expect a bearish trend for the TSX stocks, especially like Shopify and other big cap or large cap stocks on TSX. In terms of the levels, it is currently at the mid Bollinger Band. So the next levels to watch would be 25,300, 25,180. Okay. C- CADL. Okay. Yeah. If it disconnects, let's reconnect on the same call. Okay.